But a wise goat does not sleep on the same spot where it fell. Her grin widened. It was moments like these that reminded her she hadn't lost everything. Her family didn't say much about what happened at her old school, but their silence was no longer heavy. It was more like quiet understanding, the kind that says, "We see you, we're watching, keep going." If you are yet to follow this page, kindly click the subscribe button and the notification bell for new episodes. And don't forget to comment, like, and share. In the village, nothing measured a person's worth like three things: their name, their story, and how well they could survive shame. And Lindiwe, who once stood at the crossroads of silence and scandal, was now slowly becoming a tale worth retelling, not because she was perfect, but because she was rising. Her new grades weren't yet the envy of Riverbend High, but they were haze. No strings attached, no hidden whispers, just the fruit of late nights, honest work, and endless corrections that made her pencil cry. Back home, her uncle Baraka, who believed every life lesson could be explained through livestock, noticed a change. And this one is no longer walking like a goat who got caught eating someone else's yam. He joked, chewing on sugarcane. You see, when a goat learns to avoid the market woman stick, it walks straighter. Lindiwe laughed, peeling roasted groundnuts under the moonlight. "Uncle, even goats get tired sometimes." "Of course," he said, tapping her forehead with a bony finger. "But a wise goat does not sleep on the same spot where it fell." Her grin widened. It was moments like these that reminded her she hadn't lost everything. Her family didn't say much about what happened at her old school, but their silence was no longer heavy. It was more like quiet understanding, the kind that says, "We see you, we're watching, keep going." At school, the teachers noticed too, especially Mrs. Bailwa, the sharp-eyed woman with a heart as firm as old Fufu. She stopped Lindiwe after class one day, adjusting her glasses. "You have potential, girl," she said, stern but warm. "Don't let fear rob you again." "Yes, Ma," Lindiwe replied, and just like that, the soil of her life, once dry and cracked, began to soften with hope. Though Lindiwe had left Sunrise Academy behind, stories, like palm wine at a wedding, had a way of pouring themselves into every corner. One Sunday after church, while village folks were slurping pepper soup with reckless abandon, a nosy young tailor named Kwame brought up her name. "You people heard what really happened with that girl." "Hey," he said, his mouth half full. "They say she bewitched the teacher." Imagine. Mema Sifa, who had once chased a thief through 3 compounds wearing only one wrapper, gave him a look sharp enough to slice yam. "Kwame, if your mouth had brakes, you'd save yourself from many beatings." The others laughed, but the message was clear. Lindiwe's story was not for careless tongues. Meanwhile, far away in her new school, Lindiwe was learning a new rhythm. She had joined a literature club where students wrote stories, read poetry, and occasionally argued over who was better. Chinyere Kibo NGGWA Thano. "I just want to write stories that heal," Lindiwe told Tunde one day. Tunde blinked. "Stories that heal? Are you planning to open a pharmacy for emotions?" They both laughed until they nearly fell off the bench. But deep down, Lindiwe meant it. She wanted to use her voice, one that had once trembled under pressure, to speak, to write, to inspire. Elder Babu, hearing of her progress, chuckled when asked for his thoughts. "Ah, she is like the stubborn yam that refused to rot. Put in the right soil, water it well, and watch it sprout again." And so, even as rumors flapped their wings in distant corners, Lindiwe continued to grow. Because as the elders say, when the elephant walks, it does not stop because the dog barks. She was walking now, not running, not hiding, walking tall. Lindiwe had begun to walk in truth, but truth is not always a quiet companion. It knocks loudly at the door of your conscience, even when no one else is watching. Her days now started with morning prayers whispered under her breath and ended with textbooks that refused to cooperate. She still struggled with mathematics. Numbers danced in front of her eyes like masqueraders in a festival, mysterious, mischievous, and always ahead of the drum. But unlike before, She didn't run. She faced each formula like a farmer facing stubborn weeds, pulling, sweating, and learning. One afternoon, while staring helplessly at an algebra equation, she muttered, "Ah, this X is hiding more than village secrets." Her deskmate, Z, chuckled. "Maybe it doesn't want to be found. Let it go." But Lindiwe shook her head. "If I can face shame and gossip, I can face X." That night, she remembered what her grandmother once said while roasting maize. The rain does not fear the roof, and the truth does not fear the light. And so she pushed on, determined to solve both equations and the riddle of her future. News of her growth reached Elder Babu again. The old man, known for his walking stick and endless idioms, called for her one evening. She arrived at his compound with curiosity and fear. Sitting on a carved stool beneath the mango tree, he looked at her like a blacksmith inspecting iron. "You have walked through fire, child," he began. "But tell me, did you learn anything, or did you just burn?" Lindiwe hesitated. I learned, Baba. I learned that silence is not peace, and shortcuts come with ropes." He smiled. "Good. Because a child who touches fire and survives must not fear to warm their hands again." He poured her a cup of ginger tea. "Tell your story," he said. "Others need to hear it. Not with shame, but with strength." "But Baba," she said softly, "people may still mock me." The elder chuckled. "Let them talk." The lizard that jumped from the high tree nodded not for applause, but to say, "I tried." While Lindiwe blossomed, trouble was brewing back at Sunrise Academy. Mr. Dubaku's scandal had left the school bleeding respect like a leaking gourd. Parents demanded answers. Teachers whispered behind closed doors. The principal's bald head seemed shinier with stress. One teacher, Mr. Etam, had warned long ago that one's eyes move like a bush rat in a granary, he had said, but no one listened. Now, Sunrise Academy had to face the storm. A board of elders, retired teachers, a pastor, and a pepper seller with 7 university graduates were called to investigate. Their verdict was swift. We must cleanse the school, not just of the man, but of the silence that protected him. From then, every student was taught more than subjects. They were taught consent, dignity, and voice. And though Lindiwe was no longer there, her echo remained like the scent of rain long after the storm. At Riverbend High, Lindiwe was unknowingly becoming a leader. Her essays began to win attention. Teachers read them aloud. Classmates sought her help, not for tricks, but for truth. She helped organize a club called Voices of Dignity, where students shared stories, offered support, and laughed like healing itself was contagious. One boy said, "Your story gave me courage to speak up about my uncle." Another whispered, "I thought I was alone." Each word was a brick, and soon Lindiwe realized she wasn't just surviving. She was building something. She looked in the mirror one morning and smiled. "Who would have thought," she said, "that ashes can grow wings?" If you enjoyed this story, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button below. Tap the notification bell so you never miss new episodes. And don't forget to like and share if this story touched you. Your support helps us keep bringing you more amazing African tales. See you in the next story.